Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cactus Patch. I am your host, Glitch Cactus, but you can call me Cactus. And today we have a very exciting episode of the podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about the 3 local lands that occurred last weekend. That pertains to Sunset Surge, new InkLAN, and of course SeaBattle. These are some fantastic locals that have been on the rise, and we have some of the main head TOs of these locals here with us. So we'll go on in order, starting with Pepe to Avril, and then to Fusion. Just give us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and any maybe fun facts about you.
I appreciate you, Cactus. Hello, I am Pepe. I'm in a team with Triggerfish Zones Supremacy. It's a team full of TOs for the most part. Um, I one trick V shot and a recent Genesis winner. Hello, hello. And fun fact about me is that I don't know, I don't think I ate today. Yeah.
Amazing fun fact. Amazing fun fact.
All right, so I'm Avril, local Charger free agent hanging around the community, one of the TOs for New England. Guess fun fact is play Xenoblade Chronicles.
Nice.
Nice.
Love it, love it, love it.
I'm Fusion. I play the video game sometimes and I commentate. Fun fact about me is don't put me on the spot. No. I have 2 cats. I have 2 very cute cats who I will not stop talking about ever.
You shouldn't.
Never
Nice.
stop talking about the lovely animals. We love all the pets here. That is awesome and fantastic. So yeah, those are our head TOs for the 3 locals, and we're gonna get right into it. Talk about some of the fun questions we kind of have popped up. So obviously that was the introductions, and so I guess the first thing we'll start with what is your familiarity with LAN. So what was like your first LAN you ever went to? What's your experience overall with LANs, whether it be locals or majors, and anything in between those fields? Start with you,
Yeah,
Pepe.
no, I will start it out with like for me, um, I've learned about the concept of lands being a thing like ever since Splatoon 1. I I knew that like lands the events like were a thing back there where like comp was starting to like be a thing for the Splatoon series. And ever since that point, seeing lands happening for S1 and S2, I'm like, dang, like I've always like it has always been my dream to just go to one of these, to just experience how it is on being part of like, oh, I get to sit down with the people around me being my teammates and seeing the opponents on the other side and just knowing like what is that feeling? Like I've always like been curious about what that feeling was. And it was only ever until Big House of 2022, which was my very, very first LAN ever. So I never done like any LANs in S1 and S2. I've always been intrigued with them, and then like ever since Big House, the very first Splatoon 3 oriented one that was only like for S3. That has been like my first LAN experience. And then after that came Riptide, and then recently Genesis. Let's go with the Mickey Mart, and yeah, that has been my LAN experience on my end.
Yeah, so I followed competitive Splatoon 1 even when I was more of a casual player back in the first game. And the thing that always stuck out to me was just the environment of the lands always seemed so fun and welcoming, just kind of living through it. And I made my way out to a LAN for Summer Splat 2019 in Long Island. And I've been to another 5 since. Going to be another one this next month with LTC.
Nice. I also went to I went to my first LAN, I think it was Long Island Splat 3, which might have been 2018. Or even 2017. It was probably 2018. But yeah, I was semi-competitive towards the end of Splatoon 1, but I hadn't ever been thinking much about lands. It was only towards like Splatoon 2 days where I started hearing about them, and I've just been going to a ton of them since. They're a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So that's a little bit of taste of everyone's kind of experience with LANs. And I guess for my own personal sake, might as well throw mine in there as well. The first LAN I ever attended was kind of a spur of the moment. I believe it was Riptide 2022. I just knew LANs were starting to exist, and I just had to go just to experience what the in real life Splatoon was like. And ever since then, I've made it a goal to go to pretty much every major I can. I don't think since then I've missed one besides the big house in 2023 when it was canceled. So, on a nice streak there. But obviously for me, I've on the East Coast, gotta visit, gotta represent Big Dapple and with Metro Inc. And it's just incredible to see what the LAN scene is truly like. How this game could bring so many players together and give such amazing opportunities for not only players who have met online for months to years and never been able to meet until these LANs or locals happen, to even just being able to make new connections and of course just play the game we all love, which is why we're even here in the first place, to play a game that we enjoy at a higher level that's more than just a casual air spray and turf war.
Dude, like
The casuals go
you,
crazy.
I feel like you've been an icon for Lance at this point. It's like not only because of the whole Kermit, um,
Oh god, yeah.
like
Can't
show that you have
forget.
like going on every single time, but like even just you yourself as a player, Cactus. I've seen you around, and I think I did meet you back in Big House 2022. But like I was like back then, I was like, man, he's a cool guy. I've seen his tweets there and whatnot, but like I haven't like honestly like properly like met you ever since Riptide. But yeah, no, you've been an icon for sure, bro.
And I appreciate that, and all of you here as well, including you, like you, Pepe, of course, and Avril and Fusion. The more these other locals happen, um, are gonna be the icons and some of the faces of these locals, the behind the scenes of knowing who set these up. I mean, I remember when all these were happening and Splatoon Tourney was having all of these hosted. I just remember being told in the chat who was behind all of these happening, and it's incredible to know the players behind that make these happen. And you're right, Pepe. I need to like work on my my persona, I guess, when I go to locals, because I've gone from the guy who put blue char on a billboard to the guy in a Kermit suit to the guy who flips chairs. So gotta work on
You
my
have all that
branding.
going for
Yeah,
it.
I got a close up of that chair
You
flipping.
scared,
Yeah.
you scared the shit out of us
I
on that Kraken jump at Genesis.
Oh my gosh, yes. Ultra beat me to
Maybe
the pop off, but I didn't know if we scored yet. I was so worried. I'm like, wait, we can't celebrate. I don't know if we scored. It still says overtime.
when you get that insurance up on the chairs, every single land, bro. Goddamn.
Yeah, listen, I've vowed to so many people that if I win Big Dapple this weekend, which for those who may be watching, Big Dapple 4 by Metro Inc. is this Sunday.
Oh.
One of the largest locals that has happened for
Mhm.
Splatoon 3 with 20 teams. Just right behind SoCal that had 22 at a previous event. So we're catching up to you, SoCal. Mark our words. I'm saying it for them. Mark my
Awesome.
words. But yeah, it's gonna be I already promised people that if I take home the gold, I'm throwing a chair. Like I don't care how heavy those gaming chairs are. I will find the strength. And also get probably kicked out of the venue. But you know what, that's a later problem. So one of the next questions I have is, of course, you've all said your experiences going to majors and lands in general. So what kind of like, I guess besides the enjoyment of going to lands, kind of pushed you towards the want and need to make a local happen in your area? What was like that final step that was like, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm getting a team, or I'm doing it myself, I'm putting things into place, and we're gonna make this event happen?
Yeah, no, I'll gladly start with my end. Like there was like a bunch of key points, a bunch of starters, one may say, that really pushed me to actually get a community together. Like like I'll say like it all started with the idea and a question I've always had in my mind that like ever since I started playing Splatoon, this one niche game to like the entire gaming industry, like this one shooter game that is produced by like Nintendo, like on my end, I was like, who else other than me plays this game in my state? Like, what? Like, I've always asked myself that question. And of course, there's always been people who play the game casually, like, oh, like it was like a one and done kind of thing. But on my end, I was like, shit, like, who else played this game? Like, I don't know anyone else like that is like well known within the Splatoon community. That's like, yeah, I know you, and I've always asked myself like ever since then. And so then these points started off with like, um, remember back then like when Power mentioned like, oh, what if we had like a state versus state tournament, and that idea really got me thinking, and that's when I really started to research. I'm like, well, okay, if there are people that are like, wait a minute, within those replies of that initial tweet, they were like, oh, AZ, if people pull up, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's like people in Arizona that play this game. And then ever since then, like I started to communicate and like talk about like that there are people in Arizona that do play. And like it was ever since then, there was just like a gradual state of like knowing people, meeting people within the local community. And after that, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna make this. I'm going to make this happen. And um, shout outs to the LAN tournament that happened in California before SoCali, Splat City. That I'm just gonna say it was a complete failure just because for one the TO did not show up, and for me I dragged my good friend Nick over. We drove from like, and by we I say I drove us to from Arizona to California, 6 hours there, and to turn out that the LAN just did not happen. And then on the way back, I remember that on my end, like that's when I really started thinking, okay, how can we turn what I just experienced from a land not even happening and being canceled to making something that can actually work right within our state. And that's when I started to like brainstorm with my friend Nick about like what names are we gonna have like with our lands, like what ideas do I have. And shout outs to my friend Nick. He can go like in the clouds every now and then, but like I was glad that I had someone to talk to, even if like his responses were not like 100% clear. But I'm just glad that like I was like bouncing back ideas like with him, and then on Game On Expo in 2022, that's when like I first met the owners of Campfire Esports, and at that point, like I knew about their existence, from the like announcing that they're building a new esports arena, and so I was like, wait a minute, this is a sign. This is a clear sign that like, okay, something could happen here. And ever since then, like I met them at that convention. I was like, I drew emails back and forth about like, hey, this could happen, right? Like, Splatoon 3 is a game that is going to come. Like, Game On Expo happened on August 2022. The game S3 was releasing the next month in September, and so that was like, holy shit, like this could happen. And ever since they asked me, oh, is there an interest? We could maybe do it. And then I'm like, well, I really have to like turn gears now. And then on April 23rd of 2023, like it's almost gonna be an year, like ever since like I first made that initial tweet, that like, hey, people out there in Arizona, are you guys interested in like coming together and just be part of a Splatoon LAN? And ever since then, that's when like I was really like, wow, there are people here that I know. Like there's legitimately like people who live in Arizona that's like, what the fuck? Like people like Shiny Pikmin from Cherry Limeade. People like, oh, like CMO, who is currently in bet right now, and Krim, like if I'm Red Sun. And ever since then, like knowing like these huge people, like goddamn, like so there must be more, right? There has to be more. And ever since then, a bunch of like gears turned like on me. Like I was so excited to just get this going on and making for me, like my idea when it comes to like getting people hyped up, especially within the local scene, is making like just hype trailers that when people see it and they're like, yes, this is for real. Like this is like a serious thing that I want to turn this into, and now July 23rd of 2023, that was when I hosted the first ever Splatoon 3 local in Arizona, and from then on, like our recent one from last weekend became our fourth, and it was just an amazing time on my end.
Yeah, you all gotta chill with those trailers, bro. Like they're way too good. Like it's scary how good some of those trailers are. And it really I wanna like give you the major props to like either directing how those are created or creating them in general. Like it gives such inspiration, I feel like, to also other creators for lands or even majors to really get an idea of what it's like, how hyped this can be, because it can get really exciting. Now, when we see certain majors, they got to promote more than just Splatoon. Obviously, they're promoting Smash Bros, Mario Kart, just a bunch of other random things. The water parks, since most of them are at the Kalahari resorts. But it's truly incredible to see the type of work that's put in for your in a sense, not montages, but your trailers. Yeah, your trailers for these events. And I won't lie, I've had to like try to up my game when I try to make mine for Big Dapple and everything,
Oh,
because
100% though.
I'm like, this is
I've seen
crazy.
you.
It's almost like a competition. Like, how can I up myself and also try to keep on track? But like, sometimes I don't got that camera work that you guys do. So major props for those trailers. It gets people hyped. I don't even go to Arizona because I can't get so far away. But I'm hyped for the event in general.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go next.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I always thought it'd be nice to have some sort of event local to me that I don't have to get on a plane and go to. But a lot of it was like just kind of a vague thought, just because I have no experience before this of TOing or anything, not even online. So like I would kind of like think about how nice it would be, and I talked with Magic a little bit about it, because at the time he had been running his Philly events, and SoCali was starting up, and Sunset Surge was starting. And then what happened actually was that Brush from IPL, from Low Ink, he was actually talking as well about starting a local here, because he's actually moved here for college. And so he had been starting to talk with Hapless Hero, who is one of the founders of Shine, who obviously has a lot of experience running local events and lands. And Magic saw this happening and pointed them in my direction, because he knew I was also local to the area and interested. So that's kind of how we all came together. So it's a lot of like, it works out good. Brush has a lot of experience with the Splatoon TOing side of things. He runs one of the biggest tournaments in the scene right now. And then we had Hap, who originally came from the Smash scene and running Shine for so many years. So he had plenty of experience of the LAN side of things and how to like reach out to venues, how to get things set up and functioning. And I just came in with quite a lot of enthusiasm and no idea what I was doing.
See, that's like the best part though too. Like even if like you don't have a lot of knowledge, it's so good to have that just heavy want, because it inspires other players and other people in general that maybe don't know a lot about just the Splatoon side of things, but at least know a lot of like maybe production or even setups for like, I know when it comes to like Big Dapple, right? We have a lot of production teams we reach out to who don't know anything about Splatoon, but they know everything we need to know about setting up the computers, setting up the streams, because they do it for so many other events. But knowing that we're coming in with just a fire and a passion for this game, it gets them riled up, and they're like, all right, we're going to make this perfect. We're going to make everything work great. And it's so awesome to also hear that you were able to kind of talk about with a lot of other players that have the experience and be able to like connect you with those that are trying to put something together, and you're all able to, in essence, join forces and make it happen. That's like the best part. I love hearing that.
Yeah, because I don't think New InkLAN and NES would not have come about if I didn't have Brush and Hap helping out. Because I was a whole lot of enthusiasm and very little knowledge.
I feel that. Yeah. Absolutely. But that's the best part. Like you're able to like take you have the 150%, they have the other, and you're able to mix it together, and then it works out. And the event went fantastic. Like I literally had all three streams up at the same time in like little boxes on my monitor. I'm just watching all of them at the same time. I'm like, this is incredible. I love all of this.
Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate the support. Thank you.
Heck yeah.
Always support your locals. Fusion, what about you? What was your drive to get your local going?
So I moved to Seattle in the middle of 2019, and there used to be a local in Seattle, or an event in Seattle. It was no longer in Seattle from 2019 to now. Don't Park on the Grass is coming back, but it doesn't have Splatoon right now, as far as I know. So I was just like, I don't know, I wanted a local, and like three years ago, I started looking into it, and just never actually talked to someone about it. Like I started messaging. It was at GameWorks. GameWorks has like a esports arena where they'd run tournaments, but I had kind of like drafted an email and never sent anything, and then eventually just did it. I think what kind of like pushed me uh over the cusp was probably like seeing a bunch of friends like Siren, Magic, Rissa, uh all just become Lantios, and I'm like, eh. You either you die a player or live long enough to see yourself become a TO. You know?
Wait, I
Pretty
love
much,
that.
yeah,
That's
pretty
so
much.
You know?
goated.
It's
So
the old
that's
player, the TO pipeline.
exactly.
Mhm.
So that's where we're at.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool. All right, so now like I'm gonna ask a little like semi like question, just like the question in the question. We can go in order again, of course, from Pepe, Avril, and Fusion. But what was the idea behind the name for your local? How did you come up with those names?
Yeah, for mine, I remember back. This was when I was taking classes with my university, and I had my friend Nick, same Nick. He was also taking a class. Um, but then like we were doing a whole separate project, a documentary, and I sat with them like just think about, okay, Nick, so I had this idea, and what if like the name conventions that we had like had something to do with like anything Arizona oriented, right? Like we had like a bunch of names in mind, and credits to him because like we ended up with his idea that he came up with, but it was just a bunch of like names that we went back and back. But for us, like something that like I really admire about our state is just like how beautiful the sunsets are. Like literally, if you look up Arizona, a lot of the pictures that you will see there is just like the desert with like it's a beautiful sunset mountain view, and I was like, yep, this has to be it. And then the search part, there's this cool little ideology that like sunset is usually the term of direction that goes down, and then surge in the game, when you do the actual surge movement, which you go up up above, so it's kind of like the down and up motion, and it's like, you know what, I kind of like that like hidden meaning to it as well. So sunset surge was like it felt good, it felt like really nice to have. And another idea that we were going to maybe do as well was the Growler Surge, but I felt like Sunset Surge was not only easier to recognize, but less words to see, like visually. So Sunset Surge was the name that we just ended up with.
Love that. Love the
Yes.
creativity.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so for us, we wanted to have like an overall organization name and then an event name, kind of like how Metro Inc. handles it.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of, in the early days, there was a lot of us just throwing out random phrases that were related to the region that were maybe puns, something fun. And so I think we settled on the name of the event first as New InkLAN, which is pretty straightforward.
It's really
And
good.
then and then I think it was Brush who threw out the name initially of New England Splatoon. And I kind of latched onto it because I liked the acronym would be NES. I thought it would be fun.
Oh yes, that's right.
Uh,
Yes.
So we ended up being New England Splatoon because of that. We did switch it to New England Squids after the Nintendo community guidelines came out because we just didn't want to. We wanted to make sure we weren't overreaching with how
Yeah.
Nintendo handles things, and we
Yeah.
figured it would just be better in the long run to make the switch.
Um, yeah, I don't know. We just had like a group chat and we're talking about names for SeaBattle, and I don't know, it just kind of happened.
Sometimes that's the best way for him to happen. It's just Matt. It's just
Yeah.
randomly like, hey, how's this name sound?
I,
Let's run with
I
it.
like puns and like wordplay.
Yeah.
I think I'm decent at it. So we were just like riffing stuff about like, I don't know, Seattle or like rain or the Space Needle or something like that. And that just happened. So yeah. Nothing crazy.
It is good though. It's so solid.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, all three of these.
I like all of your guys' land names. They're really good.
Likewise, thank you.
Yeah.
I say these are all so unique and just memorable. That's the most important part about, I feel like, having a LAN in general, is having not only just like a memorable name, well, experience as well, but if you have a memorable name, it's gonna stick and latch on to people, and whenever they mention it's happening, it's something that they can quickly just throw off of the top of their tongue, like what like from either secret meanings, the quick go to, like hidden double meanings, like things like that are just so incredible, and there's different ways of remembering them for each of yours. I mean, even like with Metrorank's Big Dapple, I mean, Big Apple, it's in it's in the
Incredible.
name, so it's like there's something
It's very
so
good.
simple, it's just so memorable and
Mhm.
just iconic, and that's something I love about all of these locals.
So good.
So what was the process like when it came to making these lands happen? What were some of the kind of successes you've had? What were some things that maybe didn't work out right away and that you need to improve? What that could be, whether either it was this weekend or maybe a previous attempt, anything in between.
Yeah. For us, it was an interesting experience because for me, I'm right there with Avril. Like I've never done anything TO related. Like I've done a few stuff like at my school, like Smash tourneys and whatnot, but like nothing as big as in making sure that the Switch works within like your environment of the venue. And the whole process with that just came to be like realizing, holy fuck, there's a lot to order. There's a lot to like have prepared for you to like even have like just say like a full on like 4v4 set ready for people to play
Yeah.
well. And one of the biggest things and the biggest enemy that I feel like we all have as Lantios is within the audio issues. There's been a lot of experiences that I've seen that I've witnessed, whether people even use Astros or the TM1s or just go on without it, or people use like the Discords like in person as they're having headphones and earbuds all at once. Like it's a whole ordeal. And when I came upon knowing that like I needed, and I say needed because like I wanted to make sure that the lands were quality, right? At the time, like I was able to like buy enough TM1s to where I had two of them for the first one, which is already huge. But the thing about it is that the TM1s themselves, like they were at the time when I bought them, they were not cheap whatsoever. Like they cost me over like $200 per piece, and currently now I own five TM1s. Like huge thanks to Campfire Esports for buying me one, and then a huge thanks to Captain Stabby because he also like helped me financially like just get those TM1s, and I put them on the lookout to just look over at TM1s and be like, let me know as soon as you find one, and then he was just right there to buy one, and I could not thank him like enough for that. So huge thanks to him. But yeah, like failures, I cheaped out on LAN adapters for the first one, and it was hell like dealing with getting people to get in the room and whatnot. And then after that, I learned my lesson. Like I actually bought good LAN adapters for the switches, and so it was it was a hell of a time. Like the first LAN, it was good, it was okay, but my goodness, were so many things wrong. And ever since the first experience, like I then knew like what I had to deal with, so that the next Sunset Surge after that will just be even better and better and have improvements. Um, even small ones with like having vendors and yeah, that's about it on my end with that topic.
Yeah, so for us, like the first part of the process was just finding a good location. So for a while, we had narrowed it down to two gaming cafes, and the reason we settled on Balance Patch was primarily for two reasons. First, that it's right on the Green Line in Boston, so it makes it really easy for anyone, especially living in and around the city, to get there without too much of a hassle. But the thing that really pushed it over the edge is that they owned 4 TM1s that we could borrow for our events. So that helped with the early setup process. And like the first event we had was definitely rough. We didn't have a stream for this reason because it was already a lot to just make sure everything was working, which it did work eventually. It took some time. And there was also kind of the knowledge, especially hanging over me, knowing that after that event, Hap was going to be taking a step back to focus on his family. So knowing that that was kind of the only event we'd have him there to help us with the LAN side of things, since he has all that knowledge. And so we have been making stuff. So like this past event, we needed more TM1s than Balance Patch had, and Devin from Endgame was nice enough to lend us out some sets. And we recently just purchased a set of 8 Astro mixers, so we'll have those now available
Nice.
for our next event. So
Nice.
it's definitely, the learning curve is definitely there. But I feel like this, at least this past weekend, I feel like went so much smoother than the first one, even when we added in having the stream and just all that extra ways to have problems.
Yeah, I mean, for SeaBattle, we had a lot of issues. This was the first time running anything, and I mean, you guys might not know, but the event didn't finish. We still have losers, finals, and grands still to play,
Oh man.
and that's because uh, we were having consistent trouble with like one particular setup. That's like how it always is, right? There's like
Oh yeah.
something that's not going right, and it's like maybe it had to do with an OLED dock, maybe it didn't. It's just like very hard to know ahead of time. And because this is our first event, we don't have all the equipment, so we're borrowing from people, and so we don't know exactly how everything's gonna go, and that was definitely a very tricky part of it. But I think, if you're able to find a place like GameWorks has like a gaming lounge essentially, or like a gaming cafe or something like that, those are usually the best places because you don't need to bring your own monitors, which would be
I know.
very difficult. Uh, so if you do want to set something up, those are good places to start looking.
Yeah,
Um,
Balance Patch was like a huge godsend for us because they have so much available there. Ethernet cords, they have monitors, they have tables, they have private booths with a built-in stream setup,
wow.
and
That's
it's
awesome.
just
Nice.
There's
because I know Twitstorm 2017 was actually held at this location.
Oh,
This was
nice.
the first Splatoon 2 LAN.
Dang.
so there's actually a commentary booth at GameWorks, but it's across the building from where we held the tournament this time. So I don't know if that's
the
something we'd
heck?
actually want to do.
Across the building.
It's
So
kind of
like,
funny
wait a
though.
minute. So would people have to like walk like across?
I mean,
Like how long is the
GameWorks,
walk?
right? It's like Dave and
I've seen
Buster's
it.
or whatever, right? Like a
Yeah,
giant
yeah.
arcade,
Mhm.
and it's like on the second floor. One side, like in a side room, is this like gaming lounge, and on the opposite end, by like by like the basketball game hoops, is the commentator booth.
Your basketball
'Cause
hoops.
they've had like Smash events here before, and there's a room closer to that, but yeah. I don't know. All I have to say is just like email or just reach out to people because I don't know, people are probably your gaming cafes and all sorts of places are probably more willing to hear you out than you think, and it's also not as hard as you think to start running a LAN. Uh, yeah, especially if you ask people to uh, lend their docs and stuff.
Yeah, oh my
And
gosh, the lending of docs. That's the biggest thing I know. That's something that I know like a lot of events try to do because it not only does it save a lot of time and money, but a lot of events are really good at just labeling things. So it's if there's ever there's very rarely ever they're left behind, and if they are, it's because they just weren't labeled or they were someone's personal one they just
So
left behind.
we actually had a lot of stuff left behind at this LAN.
no.
Particularly, well, some people left like a dock. I mean, even if it was labeled, people just like forgot they had stuff, or they left like random other stuff like a water bottle and like I yeah, people it's always better to like just have your own setup and docks and wires and all that stuff. Just because it kind of eliminates the issue of like people leaving their stuff. But yeah, uh, something to keep in mind. We probably still need to figure out how to like get people back their stuff afterwards because we don't own the venue.
Yeah, someone's gotta just like take. I remember like
Yeah,
Rig
some people took
Dapple.
their
It's
own
like
stuff other places or other stuff. I think the venue is holding on to.
yeah, they'll either
So
hold on to it or if venues can't afford to just out of like the sake of it could get lost, it's better to leave it with one of the TOs. And if anything, like that's the point of the Discord server. So you're able to make sure you can ping in there, and if anyone has an issue like oh I left it behind, you can always message someone. It's like they'll look for it, in hopes that it gets found. And I don't think I've ever heard so far of someone being unable to find anything, but I know there are cases where people just don't remember if they ever brought anything or not. So there's just stuff left over for a long time. It's like, well, we have this for next time now.
true.
All right. So goals for your local. Obviously, it's to bring the main one that I think all of us try to achieve is bring the communities closer together. But maybe if you have a certain goal that you feel you're personally trying to achieve besides that, what would it be if you have?
Yeah, no. From my end, th- there was like there was a short-term goal and then a long-term one. The short the short-term one was to just bring the community together. And then more on that is just like getting to know people like that live in the same state. Like there's this kind of like special connection that I feel like there's a sense of a community that does mean like, hey, you want to play it together? Hell yeah, we want to. And so, like shout outs to just like everyone. I literally cannot like name everyone in the community, of course, but like literally the Sunset Search server, like I it warms my heart every single time that I see people chatting and especially be in the VC, like just gaming together. Like literally every single time that I see that VC being filled up with like more than just four people who for four people playing the game, like people like to see each other play. When Shiny streams their game and they see like people within the community just sees them gaming, and then we all just have a great time talking about like the game, having some other nonsense of a conversation, and we've come to know to being very sus within our comms. Like it's a whole ordeal, and the community itself, it's like outside of the lands, outside the time when I host and prepare for a land events. Like it's those times like that that like feel a sense of community that makes all the work and effort that I put into this like worthwhile. Because like all that I just do is witness and enjoy everyone who comes, who still gets being welcome. We still find people in Arizona. Like it's it's a seriously like it feels magical for lack of a better term. Like it's so great. And honestly, like for now, like the long term goal is to just keep that specific community alive for future iterations of the Splatoon series, whether it being like Splatoon 4 or whatever game or spin-off happens. Like I just want that community to still be alive and to commute and just feel like family.
I'm now realizing that we're probably in the part of the game's life cycle where people are like Splatoon 4 when.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's really getting to
Unless
that
we get new
point.
news tomorrow this weekend.
scary.
Yeah, right before
We'll
Worlds,
see.
right before the
They're
group
gonna
stage.
announce like the Kensa Weapons V3 or something, or
Oh
V2
my
or something.
Oh
gosh.
goodness, yeah, we'll see.
The
We'll see.
return of Kenza. I'm terrified.
Yeah, so I guess on my end, a lot of it's similar with Pepe, just being able to grow and sustain this kind of local subset of this community. I see the same. I'll often see people in our server just hopping into a VC playing together. Sometimes it's people who are playing to play together at um, an upcoming event, but a lot of the time it's also just people who want to play with other people, and so they'll just reach out in our server and say, "Hey, I'm going to do open, or I want to do salmon," even, and they'll just be a group of people be like, "Yeah, I'll play." So that's always nice to see. Another thing for us is we've actually been reaching out pretty heavily towards the college scene where we can, because the Boston area has a lot of colleges. So like we've kind of Brush is part of his college's team as well, and like we kind of recognized it as just kind of a part of the community that would be interested in something like this, and also sometimes feels a little kind of doing their own thing apart from the rest of the community as a whole. So it feels nice to be able to bring them in. We've had both WPI squads have come out to both of our events so far, and we'd love to see more. We actually added like a student pricing, and big part of that was, first of all, to make it more affordable for younger members who just don't have the funds, so they don't have a job or anything like that. But also because to a degree we've been trying to recruit that college scene to try to come out and check out these events.
Yeah, I mean, as for like goals, I just kind of want to, well, first get through the first event because again, it's not
Yeah.
over.
Soon.
But just get an event through that goes smoothly. We had a lot of like issues with the stream, and I think like we're realizing that we're yelling a lot because it's kind of difficult to hear. It's an arcade. It's kind of loud.
Mm.
So just a lot of things to like improve on next time and run it smoother. Uh, there was so this was like our first event, and there were more than 50 people who came out. Uh, so
And that's
it was a
awesome.
little bit
Wow.
crazy. Um, yeah, it was. We had 11 teams and a bunch of spectators as well. So like we had some issues. We just like to be able to like support that because we know there's a lot of people, especially from UW, who are interested in Splatoon, and people, I guess, seem to have been wanting something in the Pacific Northwest. I think someone even flew out to this event, but yeah, like the Seattle, Portland area, I think a lot of people seem willing to come out. So just to be able to support that in the future would be great.
You just reminded me, for those maybe who know Rice, Rice flew out from California to Arizona for Sunset Surge. That
Yes,
just reminded
yes.
me of that.
Wow.
It's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. Like
Yeah, no, Rice who flew, Pick Pickles who drove 3 people from Cali. But no, like you're so right. Like, and then funny enough, of a funny story, Rice, he was actually like so sad that like both SeaBattle and Sunset Surge were happening at the same time because I think distance-wise he was closer to Seattle than Arizona, so he already like planned to go to us for the LAN like before I think it was SeaBattle got announced.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, like he had like both like a lot of like friend groups from each side, so I'm glad that like he still had a great time, but yeah, yeah, he was about to fly Seattle as well for that.
Yeah, I know we had someone come in from New Jersey, and then in the past we've had someone come in from Maine. I know like we actually had some interest in the day old sushi server. I guess there's a solid amount of people from that server who live in the area. So I know there was one squad made up purely from the day old sushi server that came out to our event, and I know there was talk of other members interested in coming to a future event.
Mhm.
that's a
Like
goal I have. I gotta do it. I gotta come to each of your lands. That's a goal
Cactus,
I
hey,
have.
love it, bro. Dude, hey, bro, I will house you. If you come to us, I will house you, bro. Like Like
But
legit, like it's been amazing to just know that people like, for example, these two amazing people, Snackrap and Chuddy, like they both fly from Tucson. Like even though they still live in Arizona, they still need to like have an easier access way to come to our land, because like our location wise, like that is one negative thing that I'll say about us is like the location of our venue is a little bit of a off distance away from like where everything is in Arizona,
mhm.
populated wise. But like people do fly out, and then Cactus, if you come through, like I'm gonna make sure you do not spend a lot of money when it comes to like hotel or housing. Like I got you, bro. I got
Dude, I appreciate that. That's something. It's besides going to every major. The more of these locals that are popping up, it's the like. I'm someone who just loves being able to grow and like be a part of this community's growth as much as I can. It's the reason why I love that I have this opportunity with Dapple Productions for the podcast. It's why I've made so many of those beginners guides for players that want to get into competitive, because it creates opportunities like this where players are literally able to come out to a scene in their area with players that just like playing this game and have an opportunity to share it within their own state. I mean, the fact that we also like players were able to find other players in their state thanks to I think that event IPL ran, the state versus state. Like that was
yes,
so cool to find like 20 players from New Jersey. And I'm like, what is this? Like, where did you all come from?
exactly.
So yeah, I mean and I love seeing all these locals appear now. So like once I saw like SoCali first got announced, I was like, yep, gotta find a day to go to SoCali. Then Sunset Surge, like, yep, gotta find a time to go to Sunset Surge. Now new InkLAN and SeaBattle, yep, gotta make rearrangements, gotta sort it out. Eventually, I will
Oh
go
my god.
just to say I went, because I mean the hype is real. I mean every time I go to the New York local, I come back the next day and I don't have my voice. It's gone. It's over. And that's the fun of it. You're able to really just get in tune with the community, get in tune with how the community in those areas kind of function. I mean, it's so amazing to see the different vibes you get from different lands in general. I mean, the vibes that you get from like Riptide are so different than what you see at LTC. I'll never forget at I believe it was LTC when most of the matches were done for the day. We're heading into the kind of end of the bracket, and when majority of people are sitting down, games are starting, and everyone's shouting the words "Ready, go" on the screen. You can't beat that. That's something that like you just gotta be
Mhm.
there to experience. So
Mm.
I mean, that's seeing what I saw like from like the Sunset Surge one where everyone left out to go take a picture with the sunset. Like that's cool. Like that is beautiful. Where everyone's just kind of got that niche with their event that they got to go to. LTC with the fire pits, right? You have the
Mhm.
late night fire pits. You get to go hang out, talk to players, the after hours, if you will, of Splatoon. Like it's things like that that just are truly like it warms my heart knowing that this community can be like that, and it's not just what we see on social media. It can happen in person. And if any of you watching this podcast like are so on the fence about these events, whether that you're just not sure if you'll enjoy it, you're not sure what it's going to be like, I promise you, it's so much fun. I mean, you've heard these great TOs here just talk about how their lands have gone and the enjoyment they get out of seeing some of these players just play in general. Like, it's worth it. And, maybe it's an hour drive. Maybe you're deciding to fly out. If you're crazy enough to fly out for a local, by all means, go ahead and do it. Speaking of loving what you do for your locals, what is your favorite part about running the local? And if you really want to, you feel free to mention your least favorite thing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I can tell you my least favorite right now, and that's tearing down everything, tearing down
Oh,
all the equipment
yes, the
afterwards.
close up.
Like, look, setting up is fine. Like, I feel like I can get to be creative here and there, and honestly, like, it's the moment before the storm, like, of seeing the people. Like, I love to set up. It's great and whatnot. But like, my God, like tearing down, especially because I may or may not have stayed over like 30 hours just to make sure that the event like went well. Like, I tearing down is the worst. And luckily, I did get help from my close friends. I'm so grateful that they were there to like help me like tear things down. But that's by far my least favorite part. There's nothing that will ever beat to it. But my favorite part, when it comes to hosting a LAN, like I mean, I could talk a little about more about the community, but like it is like legit, just like like seeing people. Okay, so let me put you into perspective, right? For people who I've seen ever since the first one, and even the way beforehand, when I talk to people in the Arizona community, like I see these people that like they are thinking about like doing comp, they're thinking about like maybe being like taking this game a bit seriously. Like I've personally seen people from the first LAN ever since the most recent one, like have such an improvement with their game styles, with their gaming, and like not only that, but like seeing how hype, seeing how much they really get into it, like with the LAN energy, like that progressive like improvement of seeing those people that I know a lot, that I've been talking to, that I've been seeing with them and just gaming with them a lot, like, and not only that, but like those other people who are outside of Arizona, like I cannot be more appreciative that those people who are like from Cali and like shout outs to Soul Cali people. Like I love them to death. They've been in support of Sunset Search for the longest time, and like it's been an amazing just site. It's been an amazing gradual growth of not only the community but the skill set that these people have. And I will quote Shiny on this. Shiny within the last event, Sunset Surge, like they said that they actually had to try because they themselves they've seen these players get better, like legitimately better. And I mean that's all thanks to Shiny. I mean more on mnfi.com/shiny Pikmin.
The
Shouts
shout
to them,
out,
but
love it.
but goddamn, it's amazing to see, like legitimately.
Yeah. I'm just gonna get this out of the way. I'm a TM1 hater. I don't like them. They work maybe 50% of the time, if that, and that's a generous amount.
That's a
And
fair
that's
hatred. That's a fair.
all. And I'm glad we bought some Astro so we can use less TM1s in the future. But like for me, I just love to see the energy of everyone comes to see just the hype, the excitement. I remember one set this past weekend, one of the teams was really getting into it, really yelling, really hyping each other up. And that fed into the other team who proceeded to try to out yell them. And you just have this
Mhm.
yelling match going on at one of the setups over this one game. And they're just feeding off of each other. It's just so fun to watch when I have a moment to just step back and see the games going on. And especially like to see it, I love seeing people like being able to come together, maybe meet those people they never had a chance to meet in person before, maybe meeting new people, and just seeing everyone bonding, hang out. The creativity. We had one member who brought a whole e-leader that she had 3D printed just as a little prop to bring in. So like stuff like that's always fun to see. It's a lot of like there's a lot of energy at a LAN that you just can't match in an online environment.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people who were new and having a good time, and there were a lot of people who volunteered to help afterwards. Uh, so that was great. I think that, I mean, the technical issues are always going to be the most annoying thing about it, just because LAN setups kind of stink and it's very hard to diagnose them, or hard to diagnose the issues on it. And our schedule got all screwed up because of it. But on the other hand, there was a team called Vacshots who, as a result of all the misscheduling, the team Vacshots was on the stream like 8 sets in a row, and they made a losers run. So that was really cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
Dang.
I love that name. Backshots is a crazy name.
It is a
That's-
crazy
that's,
name.
That's
it is
They
insane.
had the stream set up for like 3 hours.
Dang.
Oh my gosh. I'll never forget that when the first big Dapple took place. It's just everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And we ended up having to do like pretty much how you were mentioning Fusion. You have to have losers finals and also grand finals on online stream. I'll never forget that. It was like getting close to midnight. Everyone was like, "Yeah, we gotta go home. It's like the end of the night. The place is gonna close soon. We can't be here much longer." And they just had to stream it on a different day. But It's those moments where you're able to kind of turn around, right? Because you're able to learn to figure out, okay, when this happened, what did we do to fix it? And if we didn't figure it out, who can we talk to help figure it out? And that's one of the fun parts. I remember even seeing on Twitter, I believe it was Saf at SeaBattle, who was like having struggles with the streaming parts, and Falco tweeted a screenshot of the FaceTime with Saf of like,
Yeah.
Saf is struggling right now. We're gonna get this
Oh,
working
no.
though.
Oh,
Like that's the fun part I enjoy
they were
seeing
tough.
about it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like individual work and stuff that went into improving things, and uh, we know to allocate more people and time to that next time. um, yeah.
Yeah, you always gotta create almost like that troubleshoot list, right? Like anything, like I know some people like try to be prepared early on for stuff like that. I mean, that's with anything, right? You try to prepare for the worst that's going to happen. But I feel like when you do, something that you did not plan for will go wrong, and then it's like, well, there goes everything we planned for. Let's just troubleshoot the best way we know how. And if it doesn't work, this is when we start to slightly panic for our timing moments.
Yeah, it's like sometimes, as in this time, one particular setup didn't work even when we switched the docks, even when we like used different switches, and it was just like what it was
oh
mysteriously
man.
connecting to the internet somehow, and I was trying to figure that out. So
Have any of
I
you
was
had the
That
just like
switch
sucks.
light,
I
the
had my
switch
mind
lights?
boggled by that, but like I don't know. Everyone put in the work and were able to like make the event a success, even though we had a lot of stream issues towards the start. Saf did a great job kind of stabilizing it and actually getting a good stream going for the event.
That's awesome. Have any of y'all run into the switch light issue when trying to set those up on like
This-
the setups?
Luckily, not a Switch Lite, but I do like had people like playing it on handheld, and like luckily for them, they already like were prepared way before, like where they told me like, hey, this thing could happen. Like people like Am and Ventus, like both of those players, they do like play on handheld, and I'm like, oh my god, like initially I was like, oh god, how is this gonna work? But from seeing how they did it, I was like, you know what? Okay, you know what you're doing, so I trusted within them that they were gonna do it. And honestly, um, it went by pretty smoothly, like smoother than I thought it would be. So props to them for like making that happen. Like seriously,
Yeah, I
for
don't
those
think we've
handheld
had.
players.
Sorry,
Oh no, good, good.
I don't think we've had anyone who's asked about handheld or switch lights so far. And at least, knock on wood, so far the connection to LAN has been the least of our problems. That's always gone pretty smoothly. Once we figured out the issue at the first event was that we just didn't turn the power strip on.
Oh no, that's
No.
That delayed us by a good 45 minutes our first event because we just didn't realize the power strip under the table had not been turned
oh
on.
my
man.
god.
It's so smallest things, which yeah, no, I feel you. It's the smallest thing that just sets us back way too much. I feel you on that. Goddamn.
Yeah, we were running into one where like because someone set wired DNS settings at their home,
Oh.
it wasn't working when they started playing on LAN, so they needed to like clear their settings.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of very specific issues that happen with LAN. Do you remember fuck it was Big House, I think, where was it Big House or was it like Shine maybe? Where everyone needed to we needed to keep doing this one particular thing where we would like uh take the switch out of the dock, turn it into airplane mode, put it back in the dock,
Yes.
and then press
That sounds
Yes.
enter.
familiar.
And it would
Oh my
actually read it as if a
gosh.
communication error has
Yeah.
occurred screen. And it was like,
That
what?
sucks.
Right, that sounds familiar. That may have been Big House.
I want to say
No,
it
it's
was
like, it
Big
could've been
House,
both?
and then that carried over to I think Riptide, to not Riptide, one of the Riptide or LTC, one of those events, because it was like it wasn't fully like trusted that you could go the other way, where it just magically connects when the minute you're in from not being in the game or you're already loaded up into the game to connect through LAN. But yes, the airplane mode thing, that was frustrating because so many players didn't understand how it worked too. And then if you took your you had an automatic where it automatically took you out of airplane mode. You had to go back in every single time to put it back into airplane mode for it to work.
And the troll doesn't
That's
even let
horrible.
you enter if you're in airplane mode. So you need to
Yes.
enter not in airplane mode,
And then
have it
go
fail,
yeah.
and then
Oh,
you need to
man.
do the whole thing while it says a communication error has occurred.
We come a
Yeah,
long
that's
way. We
horrible.
came a
There's a lot
long
of
No.
way.
very obnoxious
No.
things that have to
Oh,
do with
man.
like getting the actual setups to work. But yeah, once you get your own, if you can get your own equipment, it limits it at least a bit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I have a distinct memory of, I don't remember if it was Riptide or LTC. I was watching a set and one person's switch just was not functioning on the main stage setup, and actually they had to borrow a switch from someone else
Mhm.
because the switch would just every time it was just disconnecting and no one could figure out what the problem was. It didn't happen on any other setup. It was just that one main stage setup.
That sucks.
It's an evil dock. The docks sometimes just are your worst enemy. It could, and it's as simple as like sometimes like you plug it in all the way and it's like I don't feel like working today. Try again later.
Right, like it's not perfect. Like, like I've never had it like an instance ever. Like whether it being like a land that I went to or that I hosted, there's never been an instance to where like everything just went perfectly. Like there's no world like that, and if there is, like please, like
Put me in
teach
that
me your
world.
secrets, because like exactly, bro. Because like goddamn, like technology, like itself, like it just goes so bad to the point where like I remember there was this one point like this was in the I believe in the second one where the Switch dock itself um had issues like it was like connecting on and off. Like I literally saw the LAN like wire icon symbol right on the top right like blinking on and off, and I was like, well, what is going on? Like the Switch is just like being haunted or something. And so yeah, it's crazy like that.
Yeah, like Rush said to me, like when we were having a meeting before he went in for New InkLAN, he said, 80% of this is going to go great. We'll worry about the other 20% 2 weeks after.
Oh,
Oh, man.
lands. They're so much fun, but when you're on the technical side, it's you have a heart attack every time someone says, "Can I get a TO?"
Oh yeah.
Ah, gosh. And like there's some rare cases though where like some players like I've seen this a lot at just a lot of the lands I've went to where like we'll call for a TO. TOs are obviously fixing one issue. Then by the time they get over to your issue, it's like, oh, we fixed it. It's like, what did you do? And what was the issue? So we know for next time. Please share. And it'll be something as simple as, oh yeah, we have to just disconnect the controller. We're fine now.
Oh my god.
All right, so what is I love this question because this can lead to anything and everything. What are some of the best or funniest moments that you might have from your LAN?
Oh, that's a really good question. Like for me, the very recent one that we had at Sunset Surge, like every single one back then, like it felt like there was just this one team that did pretty much dominate respectfully. But this recent one that we had, like, my God, we had two game fives and a grand finals bracket reset into the losers winning the entire like the tournament, and like that alone was like so hype. So best moments like within our lands is honestly just the competition and how close these games were. Like I'm talking about like freaking frame 1 to 3 like perfect bomb on a Kraken jump on Clan Blitz. Like it was insane. And then another great moment. This was pretty new for us as a searchers and for me. Like freaking three random musicians who who just so happens to love playing Splatoon music spot out of nowhere in my DMs, and they're like, "Hey, can we do this little like cool concert at your events?" And I'm like, you say Splatoon like live music in our lands? Hell yeah, let's get those people. And then so when it happened, like it was so beautiful. I don't know if you guys saw, but like it was literally like straight 15 minutes of beautifully like choreographed Splatoon music that they just played out in our venue, and it was so good. It was uh it touched my heart just hearing like Splatoon music being played out live, and that moment alone was like so inspirational because I see like people, the community, just like clapping on beat and like feeling together, and it was so good.
Yeah, it's really great when all the setups are working and no one's got yelling at me to come over and fix things, and I can just stand there and watch for a minute until the next thing breaks. But
Oh, no.
I get that
definitely,
so much.
definitely a lot of funny instances. There was the whole power strip incident, of course. And this past weekend, we had a similar incident where we were running low on our splitters, and we were starting to have to borrow from the venue. And as we're packing up at the end of the night, Brush reaches into one of our boxes and finds another bag of splitters that we could have used the whole time.
No
That
way.
I
Oh,
hadn't
man.
I hadn't realized he hadn't gone through those yet because I hadn't been looking at that. But I think one of my favorites is one that didn't even happen at the LAN, but it happened while Brush and I were planning the morning of, where we were just in a call together going through group seating, all that fun stuff. And there was this one team whose name was a little bit towing the line. We weren't sure if it was a great idea to put on stream. So we said, you know what, let's just ask Falco. It's his stream. He's lending it to us. Let's see what he thinks. And we look and he's like, oh, he's streaming right now because it's Saturday morning. Let's go into his chat and ask him.
No way.
Oh,
The
man.
live chat ask was crazy.
Yeah. So Brush and I just raided his chat asking about this team name real quick.
Was it a yes or no?
It was a no. He was like,
Okay.
he was like, at first
Oh.
he was like, I prefer not, but maybe. And then you heard the full name because it was Dragon D's Garden.
Oh my
It was
God.
named after like a restaurant, but also, you know,
Yeah.
D's nuts.
Yeah.
And when
Um,
he heard the full name, he's like,
the
no,
heck?
no, no, make
No.
him change it, make him change
Get
it.
it out of here.
Oh no.
I mean, I think the fact that the team called Vac Shots was on stream like 6 times or 8 times or whatever it was very funny. There was also a part where we were like troubleshooting that one stream setup forever for like 20 plus minutes, and then we got it working. Like it just miraculously worked after we changed nothing, and we started cheering. So that was fun.
Let's go. Ugh, the best is when you get to do
Yeah.
nothing and it works.
Well, we were
That's the
doing
hope.
things, but it was after we undid them.
Oh,
It worked.
just like
Oh, no.
just the reverse order of everything. Like, let's just restart from scratch. Oh, perfect. There we go.
Classic.
Oh, that's so good. I mean, I love that. It's just every time too. It's gonna be something new every time. It's like, you know what? If there's one thing I'm gonna remember, it's this from this event we had this one time. Oh my gosh. All right, so this is a question that I've been talking to a handful of people about, mainly Pepe, because every time I meet Pepe at an event, I always talk about it because of just
Oh,
the
yes.
the growing size of the community, and with now
Mhm.
locals feeling like they're popping up everywhere, and even not even in just the States, but in other countries as well. Future collaborations, whether that be
Yes.
local versus local, whether that be
Mhm.
finding like players from each state that are going that might want to just form a semi team and then compete as a side event at a major. What
Mhm.
is the likelihood of you wanting that to happen and maybe getting in touch with each other and making this potentially a thing?
Like, I'm so happy that you're like asking this because like literally 2 days ago, like I had a call from the owners of Campfire Esports, like the venue that I was hosting for Sunset Surge, and the owner like she like had no idea what Splatoon was, like even before like that game on like instant when I first met them, and ever since like I like was hosting like events for their venue, like Andrea, the owner, like she got so intrigued about like the community and like what other opportunities there could be. And this is without even me mentioning anything about like what you had in mind, Cactus. But she said like, you know what would be cool is like if we have like all the other LAN like places just compete against each other. And I'm like, well, it's very funny you say that because there's someone else who had the amazing idea. And like, so yes, there's a bunch of different ideas that we can do. And of course, there's a lot that we need to coordinate with this. And it's only possible if there's an interest and if we do it like in the first place. But like, I feel like it would be an amazing opportunity for the communities to just get together, not only to like feel like, hey, we are competing against each other, but like literally um help us like support each other and literally be our cheerleaders and have like teams per state compete against the other local lands on the other states. And I feel like that idea alone is something that I know like Smash, like just to talk about Smash real quick, like they implemented that idea alone, like just looking back at their melee documentary, like when they were doing crew battles and when they were like being like, oh, who's the best of the best on like what state. So I feel like what we're doing right now as LAN-TOs, this is just the beginning of like what that possibility could end up being for us as the the beginners of like bringing local lands together, like local events, and knowing who lives in what state, right? Because I feel like back then no one really was okay with like sharing like, oh, I live this place and whatnot. But now like in these recent times, we know where people live state-wise, and I feel like that's just a great opportunity for competition and for us to showcase, dude, there is legitimate competition. Like there could be like beef or like quote unquote beef or whatnot, but
Like
yeah,
the cross
Cactus,
state beef.
like yeah, or even like having a West versus East Coast, like there's a
Yes.
whole like different idea,
Yeah, I
like
had the West
yeah,
versus East Coast is something that was on my mind too recently.
no, it's great, but yeah, go ahead, Ebro.
Oh, sorry if like
No, please go for it.
yeah, so like we don't have anything planned right now because we're still kind of early stages, just making
Yeah.
sure it runs and there's interest and it works. Like I thought it would be fun, like Pepe said, like an East Coast versus West Coast, or even like a little battle of the Northeast with Metro Inc. could be fun.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
The way
please.
that SoCali and Sunset Surge did a while back.
Yes. Oh, that
Yes.
was a fun one to do.
Uh, I mean, yeah, I would just like to get the LAN up and running smoothly and go for a while before we think about that sort of stuff. But there's a lot of UW people who came to the event. I think there were 2 teams worth, and I'm sure some spectators as well. So maybe in the future something like CCA related would be cool.
Yeah, I mean that's like because I remember having this idea when I think it was like when SoCal and Sunset Surge were just rising around the same time Big Dapple was taking place, and it's just it crossed my mind because I remember like I kept referring back to when IPL had that state versus state tournament, and so many players like I remember just the tweets, people were shocked to
Yeah.
find out like,
Yes.
wait, you're from my state? It's like, yeah, we should play
Exactly.
sometime. And I remember there was a group chat for New Jersey. It's Frozono. I'm from New Jersey. Yes, I know we're bad drivers. Don't worry. People were trying to plan that it lived closer to like the kind of like closer towards New York, just northern Jersey, of potentially meeting up because that's where a lot of them lived. And it was incredible that these players were able to just kind of like have the idea to just get together and maybe like grab a coffee or like just kind of set up at like a picnic table and play Splatoon at a park. And knowing that like we're having these local events, and obviously yeah, like I agree, it doesn't have to be something that's within like even the next year, right? There's plenty of time for all this to go down, but I think it would be amazing that like we have the best of SoCali and Sunset Surge and New InkLAN and SeaBattle and Big Dapple and whatever else magically pops up throughout time. Just being able to have the best from each state then go head to head, or like like it was mentioned for West versus East Coast, we have like maybe like a bracket of like 4 teams from the West Coast and 4 teams from the East Coast, and they compete to see who's gonna be the best. Both will compete in their own separate brackets, and the winners of both compete to see who's the better coast. Like just those kind of events would be amazing. And I think obviously LTC seems to be like consistently being the largest major, and I feel like every major we have, it's the largest Splatoon 3 major, and it's probably gonna keep going that way. But LT seems to be the one that like you're able to get the most players from variety of states together into under one roof because of its location, just being kind of in the
Right.
center of the country. And I feel like that one, it's always a giant venue, but could you imagine a side event of where it's like, yeah, these 4 players that are coming from the East Coast and these 4 players from the
Oh,
center
that'd be so
states,
hype.
it's just as a side event instead of like a stamina event. You have that, and you could stream it, and then people be in chat, cheer and vote for their state or their side of the country. Like things like this is just,
Yeah.
it's such a cool opportunity. And again, like I'm not saying it like it has to happen this year, obviously, but just kind of throwing it out there, since with all these now, like again, you three had your locals the same weekend, and the viewership
Yeah.
for all of them were incredible.
Not planned at all.
Yeah,
By the way,
like,
like
yeah.
I don't think it
No.
was planned, right? I don't
I don't
necessarily
even,
think
how
like
did that even happen?
Funny enough, Big Dapple was also supposed to happen that weekend too, but it didn't because the venue wasn't available. So there was almost 4 locals at the same time.
Yeah, like
I mean, I guess that's
for
why they're
us, we were
locals.
yeah, we were actually supposed to happen a month earlier in March. And the venue reached out to us when we still didn't have like huge numbers of signups because they had another large group who wanted that date and couldn't really work around. We don't know if it was like a regular group or something, and they asked us if we'd be willing to switch our date around. And there was definitely some haggling on pricing and the dates options, but we ended up settling on the busiest weekend in the scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every day you have this many locals the same weekend. Not even like a major and a local on the same weekend. And most of the times, online tournaments try not to happen while majors are happening. So knowing that 3 in-person events all took place, all had amazing turnouts, and even like the stream wise had incredible numbers. Like it was awesome to see of all of them being popped up. Now I'm sure some people were crazy like I was and had all of them popped up on one screen. But it's like
Yeah.
just knowing
Thank
that
you.
that was out there. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favorite things, is just to see it happen and see these events take place. And I love like the camera angles too that these lands get. Is just viewing the venue itself, and then also you have just the players on stage, and of course the different ways that each land kind of has their commentators set up. Like whether it's the gaming chair set up on a little stage, or it's like where Big Dapple we have like the commentator couch,
Mhm.
and just things like that. Like it's so cool.
Yeah. No. Like for me, I felt like what really got me to really know that I wanted to go to a LAN was just like even hearing the audio and visual like within the event, like seeing the actual event is a whole other thing. Like sure, like seeing the game wise, like it's so hype and intense, right? But like when you actually get to see like the actual people playing like in the event, seeing the players like specifically the pop-offs, like the pop-offs themselves is what I feel like just highlights Lance so much because like that's just a raw human expression that we do not just see like
Yep.
often.
Yeah, you don't see
and
online.
and yeah, like and when we do see that, like both like visual and audio, like it creates a lot of excitement for both the people in the venue and for the people on stream to just witness like, wow, this does happen at Lance, like this is cool. And I'm like that's just a grab, and that's the idea behind like what I definitely want like my streams to just showcase. And having like the commentators on green screen was a pleasure to have as well.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me twice. I'm no stranger to pop-offs. You don't have to tell me twice.
Dude, okay, Cactus, when you come to our lands, I'm gonna give you a separate plastic chair just for you, bro.
You could be like a pop-up lawn chair.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in
With-
real physical danger of one of those chairs on main stage.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I would never forget. I'll never forget the highlight where like I tried to pick it back up and I almost dropped it again. And the commentators like, "Oh, Siren and Magic look at me and they're like, come on, just pick up the chair. It's not hard."
oh my god.
Oh man, just good times, and I agree. The pop-offs are like unmatched, and it's such a like a hype feeling. As someone who like I'm not one to usually pop off, of course, on online tournaments because, like, yeah, you have it like audibly, but of course, you're in an environment where
Yeah.
when you're at a local or at a major, like, there's a lot of loud noise already, and you're having like that hype around you, regardless whether you're hearing other sets in the background while you're playing. There's tons of people watching you at home and also in person, and just popping off is just like it just feels so good because like you traveled all the way to this event, whether it was a long distance or a short distance, and you're competing in person for whatever, the prize might be, even from sometimes just because, and, knowing that you're doing so well at an in-person event, it's awesome. It's incredible. And it's just an unmatched feeling than when trying to win an online tournament. Like, I know that firsthand too. I've never won a major or local yet, but
Yes,
just
bro. Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get
yeah,
there, bro.
listen, Big Dapple 3, I got third. I'm trying to take home this weekend.
Dude, oh,
That's what I'm
that's gonna be hype.
saying.
That's
Pretty
gonna be
good.
hype.
I mean, Fusion and I got top 4 at Shine
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
see,
God.
that's hype. That's incredible.
out of 9, but
That's
Still
still
top
that's
four.
still yeah,
The
still
top
top
four,
4.
details, and it's all good.
I mean, I remember the pop off Pepe Mickey Mart had after you guys
Oh, no.
dominated in Genesis. I mean, that was so incredible and so deserved. You all just had such different emotions happening at once, and I'm just like, yes, this is it. This is peak Splatoon.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. Uh,
One day we're
I
all gonna
definitely
be.
feel like it's something that every player should like feel. Just getting to pop off for winning. It doesn't matter if it's like even just like a single win against like a good team, like just a single pop off. Like I feel like it's what every player should feel in their comp experience.
Yeah, and the one thing is too, like, you don't have to be afraid of, like, I know there's some people like that like at home they can't pop off as much as they'd love to because they gotta be quiet. There's maybe family in the other room. They have maybe a pet at home that it's like too scared of the loud noises. But like at LANs, you're kind of allowed to have a pop off as long as it's like reasonable. Like,
Oh
just
yeah.
don't do what I do and don't flip chairs. But just feel free to like jump up, just be like yes, like I always scream I'm better. That's something that's fun. I do that mainly because of Popgun, because Popgun said that's something like feel free to say if you feel like you're better. So I took that one to heart. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, my LTC team has taken that mentality to the extreme, and our team name is straight up just "Wait, I'm the goat,"
Oh my gosh, I love that.
based off a tweet of how that's what you say when you miss all your shots. Not "I'm bad, I suck." Just no, wait, I'm the goat.
Yeah, wait.
Nice.
All right, so we're nearing the end of the kind of questions that we've had labeled up for all of you. The future of your local. Now I know your locals happened literally a week ago, but are there any ideas kind of in the air, tossed around, of when you might want to try to aim to have your next one?
Yeah, I mean, I will not share a lot, but like we will officially be having our 1 year anniversary this July in the summer, where unironically like that's the time where Arizona gets the most like hot. So our theme is just like fire, heat. But we will be officially having our 1 year anniversary this July. So for anyone hearing this, be on the lookout for that specific announcement.
Yeah, so our next event probably won't be until the fall. It's a little rough because Brush leaves state when he's not in school,
Mm-hmm.
and I have told him several times that I refuse to attempt this by myself. So for us, we're a little held back by that, but we do plan to run our next event in probably October or November. We haven't planned out the details yet. It's still way too soon for that.
We're looking at something a few months from now, but remains to be seen. We definitely have some planning we need to do.
Yeah, I mean the hardest part is always finding a good time. Not only just because you don't want to step on toes of majors or like in like online tournaments, like, but it's also like the land space, right? Like sometimes maybe the venue's not available, or you have to start looking around for other events, and then you also have to time out so many other things. But it's awesome to hear that there are plans and talks of these locals returning, which I mean it's great to hear, and I didn't expect anything less. And even if it's just in the talking stage, it's awesome to hear that they are in the talking stage because of the turnouts of the first ones, with the first multiple, and that's always really fun to hear about and even just be a part of and be able to share. And I'm sure, the more these events happen, the more we're gonna have to keep up with Pepe and those amazing trailers, and make sure we're all just competing for who's got the best local trailer, who's got it.
Thank you, thank you.
So with that being said, for me personally, that wraps up all the questions I had. I did see someone ask way early on in the chat, if any of you are going to LTC. So I guess I might as well just ask, what is the next LAN that you will be attending?
Yeah, on my end, I will be there at LTC. I'm gonna happily be participating and competing with Shiny, Pika, and Mudcup, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
I'm good. I'll be at LTC too. I'm playing with Kaiser, Kanon, and Flapper. And we're the
Oh,
goats.
nice, nice. Where to go? It's nice.
The name, it's such a good name.
I'm also at LTC. All of us are there, it seems. I'm with Splat, Cosmos, and Bronze. So,
Oh, nice.
Let's go. Everyone in this VC is going to be at LTC. This is amazing. I love it.
See you there.
I love it. Yes. Oh my gosh.
We
I
gotta take
wonder.
a picture.
Yes, we gotta get like a local picture. Just like if anyone's gone to the locals, just get them all together. Just like all the local
Hell yeah.
players in one place.
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
that'll be so dope.
God.
Yeah,
So
Brush
much
should be
fun.
there as well.
Yes. Get to see Brush again. Get to bug him about Loink again. He spelled
I
my
got my
name
Lowing
wrong.
certificate.
He spelled my name wrong on mine. I'm kind of mad about that. I was goofing. I was like, "Hey, what if you put my name on it?" And he was like, "For you, I'll do it." And then I looked at him, it was spelled wrong, and he's like, "You deserve that." I'm like, "All right, sure, Bryce. Whatever you say." All right, so fantastic to hear. For those in chat are wondering if you want to go to LTC, you could see us four and of course probably many other players. Again, LTC is currently the largest ready to attend Splatoon 3 majors that are happening in the States. So definitely don't want to miss that. But with that being said, that's going to do it for this episode. But before we head on out, going in order again as we've been going, feel free to shout yourselves out, shout out anything you want, give a thank to whoever you want, plugs, you name it. Go on ahead.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Well, for the people that I do want to thank, most importantly, are my tight knit staff group, which is most importantly like my friends, my really close friends, like Captain Stabby, Riller, Connor Chase, Nick Vibor, for just being there to help me out and being like pretty much like my mini staff. I still allow them to like enjoy the events, but they've been an extraordinary help when it came to like helping every single Sunset Surge. Um, and then I would like to thank Falco. I mean, from just speaking from everyone here, like he's been amazing to like host us to be part of like their Splat and Tourney Twitch accounts. So that alone was a huge support, and I feel like it was just a great opportunity for all of us to be part of like a bigger Twitch account for more eyes to see our logos. Um, Vic for honestly like spreading the word like immensely to our lands. Like Vic has been amazing of a support to just spreading the word out. And then freaking like Hammer. Hammer has been there like with me. We've been like DMing back and forth when it came to like us starting both Soul Cali and Sunset Search. We've been in huge like support with one another, like whether it being like supporting like each other's lands, like literally driving from our state like just to like across state to just go to like local lands, and me like helping them with like the TM1s and audio stuff, um, and yeah, and my last shout out to those people that I really love to thank is both Shiny and DJ. They've been like an extraordinary support and pretty much been like a core element to like bringing Sunset Search to how it is like right now. There's a lot that I could be talking about like those two in specific, but like my goodness, they are just extremely amazing. two amazing people, and I could not thank them enough. And of course, like all like the other Cali people, out of state people that just come to the search like server and just have fun with us, a really good time. People from Pennsylvania, California, like all over the place. And then freaking like something, he's been a extreme support within our locals and our community. He's just been there, and then the people that I've been seeing like in chat right now, like something Chuddy, Ryan, something DJ Squared, Leche, Taro, M, like, dude, the community is just fucking amazing, and I couldn't be happy with them. And if you do want to see us on Twitter, it'll be at Twitter at sunset_surge. And then if you want to know more about me and my Twitter, it'll be at Twitter at Pepe_Pep_P. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so down. I got a bit of a list because I've got a lot of talented people around me who are very willing to put up with me knowing nothing. So just want to shout out first, of course, Brush and Hap for pulling me into it, us kind of being the initial group to start getting this rolling, with especially with Brush's knowledge of running Splatoon tournaments and Hap's knowledge of the LAN scene has been huge help. Then I also want to shout out Radish, who also helped out a lot with the early planning stages. I want to shout out Moo, who designed our fantastic logo. Kiwi, who did a lot of the graphic design for us and has done a great job. Jay, who made us some pretty cool Charlie stickers. Falco, of course, for lending us Splatoon 20 and trusting us with his baby. And then, particularly, I want to shout out member who came to the last event, Small, who was a huge help in organizing and setting up and tearing down. As well as, also want to shout out Fuchsia, who recently returned here from the Midwest after running the Squid West local for so long. And particularly with those two, they have recently agreed to join our team for organizing our future events. So it's not just me and Brush in the future. Yeah. So if you want to hear more about NES, our Twitter is at NESquids. And if you want to just hear more from me, for some reason, I'm on both Twitter and Twitch as Avril the Teller.
Yeah, and for SeaBattle, I'm gonna thank Satan Saf and Tokapa for running this LAN with me. They've done a lot of awesome work. And as well as Igpig, who did the poster, and Flume, who did the logo. We were supposed to have stickers for those, but they're coming, so next time. And yeah, you can find me at apefusion_. You can also find the SeaBattle Twitter. I think it's SeaBattle SPL, if I'm not mistaken. I may be mistaken though. So thank you for bearing with me.
Thank you all for sharing your support for all the fantastic people that have helped you along the way. And I just want to give a big thank you to you three for not only coming onto the podcast and talking all about your local and the event and just so many amazing and unfortunate things that have happened, but as well as running your event. Like, without the efforts, without the idea of just making a local in your area function and run, it wouldn't have been possible. So truly, if I might as well just thank from everyone, like, thank you so much for all that you three do and what you're able to make happen at your events and the future of your events. And I can't wait to consistently support your locals, and whether I'm going or not, we'll find a way. Because it's amazing. It's awesome. You guys deserve all the praise for making such amazing events.
Thank you. And then we'll be seeing you getting the W at Big Dapple, right?
That's the
Heck
goal.
yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah, we're not done with locals yet.
Not just yet. Absolutely. For those who aren't aware just yet, this Sunday, I believe 11 a.m. EST or 12 p.m. EST, Big Dapple 4 will take place. 20 teams, one of the largest locals in the scene for Splatoon 3, will be happening. And you better believe it is going to be incredible. And as I always like to say for that event, no one does it like New York. So with that being said, that's going to do it for this episode of the Cactus Patch. Thank you all so much for coming out, and I will see all of you in the next episode.
Nice.